Yo, what's up, everybody? This your man Tony Wiggins here with another edition of Locked On Jaguars on a Monday. Tough sledding for the Jaguars in their home opener, losing 23-13 to Denver. I'll talk about that and the prospects moving forward for the Jaguars on this edition of Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jags, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is going on? What's happening, man? Wish I had better news. Wish I had some victory speeches to give you on today's edition of Locked On Jaguars. I don't. However, it's not all grim. It's not all if you will. It's not all grits that are too salty. We're going to just take an honest assessment and an honest look at this team, where they are, what they can do moving forward, and just let you know what this year is going to be about, what this year is going to be like. And we're going to make sure we hit all of those points today on Locked On Jaguars. After I tell you about Locked On NFL Draft, the Locked On NFL Draft podcast relaunches September 20th with Eric Crocker brings the player scouting. Ryan Tracy brings the analytics. Follow the Locked On NFL Draft podcast on YouTube, the Odyssey app, and wherever you get podcasts. All right, man. So let's not bury it. The Jaguars obviously played yesterday against the Denver Broncos and fell short, losing 23-13 in a game really that had some excitement early. The Jaguars came out and went 73 yards in the initial drive of the game and scored a touchdown. And the home crowd was going crazy. Too many Bronco fans were here, by the way, but that's another story. Got off to a 7-0 start. Defense made a couple of plays, couple of key stops. But eventually what happened is the team that was the better team took over the game and started to win. And when the Jaguars did have the opportunities, they missed field goals with Josh Lambo, and they got to figure out what's going on with him. But normally very, very reliable, was not reliable yesterday, and it cost them. It cost them at some critical moments. And then all of a sudden they get pass happy again because they weren't having a lot of success running the ball. Guys are making inopportune mistakes, missing blocks, dropping passes. Those are the things that just really happen when you're not a real good football team. Trevor Lawrence didn't have a big statistical day, only completing 14 out of 33 passes for less than 150 yards. And that can't happen either. But was there improvement? Sure. The fact that you didn't see them totally look unprepared. The fact that, let me give you the good stuff. I'm going to give you the good stuff, all right? So in the offseason, the Jaguars wanted to build a team that could stop the run. They've improved in that area. They wanted to improve the athleticism of their secondary. They've improved in that area. However, the secondary still gives up too many big plays. They wanted special teams to be an improvement. The kicking game hasn't been what they wanted it to be, but they did get a 102-yard kickoff return from Jamal Agnew, who was one of their free agent signings. You wanted your quarterback to look like a franchise quarterback. Done. The talent is undeniable when it comes to Trevor Lawrence, so that's not an issue. Here's the problems. Now I'm going to give you the Marvin Jones has made some catches. That's a good thing. But here's the issue. Kayvon Chason, to me, has not improved his output. Maybe his effort has improved in the building, but he flashes, but he doesn't make plays. The offensive line that the Jaguars thought was really, really good isn't, and it's an area of concern, and they need an awful lot of help and an injection of talent at across the board at the offensive line. I say a minimum. I was talking to Mike DeRocco from ESPN yesterday in the press box. I say a minimum of 3 guys starting, and then maybe 2 more guys in development. That's bad when you consider they only keep 8 or 9 active during these weeks. So I think they're really bad at offensive line. I thought they needed tight end help, and the Jaguars seemed to think that they could develop or makeshift or give guys tryouts at that position. they still don't have a viable tight end, especially when you look around at the teams that really use the tight end. Like you watch a Sunday night game with KC in Baltimore, and it's just night and day, right? Travis Kelce is so good that he makes a guy like Mark Andrews look like he's okay. And Mark Andrews is outstanding for Baltimore. So, and then you look at the guys that's behind him and their backups, and you're like, well, he's catching balls too, right? And the Jaguars don't have one tight end. So those are the issues that they accomplish some things, but what you always want to know is if a team can walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. Like if you fix the pipe in the bathroom, does the one in the kitchen break? Or can you know, because a good football team, you're going to fix all of this stuff all at one time, right? Everything across the board is going to be solid. That's what good football teams do. The bottom line is right now they just don't have enough playmakers, and then they have too many positions where they're just not sound in those positions. So what I want to do today is this. I want to talk about two things. Expectation, fan expectation in the second segment, because that's what we, you know, we're all sitting in the same pew in terms of me. So we, you know, because what coaches expect and how they're looking at things, that's their job, that's their livelihood, and players, we're not them. So from the outside looking in, and how you want to consume the product over the next, I don't know, let's go say about 2 years to see if they can get to the point where they're competing with those heavy hitters. What are your expectations? Are your expectations changed? Have you had a slap in the face of reality? Were they too high in the first place? I don't necessarily think that. I'm going to discuss it and explain it to you in the second segment. Third segment, coaching. I'm going to take a guess because I don't know. And I'm going to take a guess as to what those guys might be thinking. And by those guys, I mean Urban Meyer and Trent Baalke and the brass and maybe even Shad Khan about what they might be thinking are the true natural prospects for how this team is going to ever get better and what that timetable is realistically. We're going to discuss all of those things here on a Monday edition of Locked On Jaguars. We ain't going to throw no pity party, man, because you know what? Ain't nobody cares. Nobody cares if your team is good or bad. The only people that really care about it is you. So no pity party, but we're just going to take a realistic look at the 0-2 Jaguars and see what they have in the near and in the not so near future. They got a game this week against a team that they probably want to look just like on the Cardinals. So we'll discuss that and more here on a Monday edition of Locked On Jaguars. Hey, what up, Jaguar fans? This is Tony Wiggins with an incredible app everyone who buys gas needs to know about. It's called Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store on Google Play right now. Use the promo code Touchdown for NFL and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. Now, that promo code is Touchdown. Remember that. Touchdown for you NFL fans. That's up to 50 cents cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free and use the promo code Touchdown to get up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot more making as much as $200 to $300 a month in cash back, and there's no catch. The cash back gets added right to your account. You can cash out anytime your bank account through PayPal or through your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use your promo code Touchdown. That's right, Touchdown, to get up to 50 cent gallon cash back on your first tank. Not 50%, 50 cents per gallon on cash back for your first tank. That's Touchdown as your promo code, and make sure you get the Get Upside app downloaded in your app store. All right, man, rolling along here. Segment number 2. Segment 1 is in the books. First 2 games of the year for the Jaguars are also in the books. 0-2 start. Is it a surprise? A little bit, because mainly I thought they would beat Houston, but Houston looks like a very solid football team coming out of the gate. So I don't know where the wins are coming from at this moment. I do know they have a very, very tough game against the Arizona Cardinals coming up this Sunday. The Cardinals are a very, very explosive team. They look really, really good. And they will now play an upper tier quarterback. And no disrespect to Teddy Bridgewater or to Tyrod Taylor, but they're ready to get Kyler Murray up in here. And he's a problem. He's a problem with his legs. He's a problem with his arm. Of course, DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green. You're talking about first ballot Hall of Famer and a guy that's going to garner some consideration for that. And Christian Kirk, the speedy receiver that could give the Jaguars problems because they've had a problem keeping guys from getting behind them. And of course, you know it, Rondale Moore. And as a guy that a lot of Jaguar fans talked about being a member of this team for a long time, I really think Rondale Moore wasn't a Jaguar because I think they have this philosophy, and we've talked about it in the past, of getting guys that are athletic. They fit a certain athletic profile, and I just don't think he did. He was like 5'7", 180 pounds. But he had that speed element that Urban Meyer says he's missing, that he was missing, and he's still missing because the Jaguars aren't very fast. So you're going to see a team come in here Sunday that looks a lot like the team that Urban Meyer describes that he wants to be like. But they are actually that team for real. So what are the fans' expectations as of this point? I think the fans want to just see Trevor continue to improve. And I think the fans, what they're going to do is they're going to start looking, and I know it's early, but the Jaguar fans are going to do what they're experts at doing. They are going to start looking at and looking for guys that they know can help them in the future if this team is ever going to get over the hump. You already got a good feeling about Trevor Lawrence. I don't know that James Robinson is by himself is a guy that you're going to say, yeah, he's one. He could be one of a couple of people, but I do believe that any good team has two running backs. I don't think Robinson is by himself dynamic enough to say, yeah, we're solid in that position and we just need a guy who can complement him. They want to get Travis Etienne back next year. That's going to have to wait. We're going to see what he's like after the Liz Frank injury. I think the Jaguar fans are pretty much sold on the fact that it ain't happening with the guys on the offensive line. Even the young dudes, they're not going to develop very well. And even if they do, it's not going to be at a championship level. I'm starting to feel that the fans are also thinking that the Jaguars don't have a number one receiver and might not have a number two. Now, a number one receiver could make the receivers on the roster actually look better. The problem is DJ Chalk's a free agent, and what do you re-sign him or don't you re-sign him? And this is the problem when folks say, well, this is going to take time, and they're just trying to put people around there. By the way, I'm not with this whole, well, this year is just a year that they're going to add infrastructure and build a roster around Trevor. I'm not with that because I don't think that's what the coaching staff is with. So you got media members and guys doing blogs and stuff that they're going to say that, but that's fine if you're just saying what they should be doing. But if you're saying that that's what they're doing and that's not actually what they're doing or how they're looking at it, then it doesn't matter. Well, the only thing that matters is what Urban Meyer is trying to do and what he's going to. And see, this is the problem when you get coaches and guys with philosophies that don't work. If you ever start over, all of that stuff goes out of the window. So I don't think that Urban Meyer, from the way he talks, is sitting here trying to build this thing up so that in year 3 or 4, they're competitive. No, I think he really, really tried to come out of the gate. I think because of the salary cap money that they had and because of the way that they drafted, I really believe that he thought that they were good enough. And what they would do with their draft picks was draft guys who were long-term dudes who they could put into their program and start developing them the way real good teams do. The way real good teams do when they draft guys and you don't see them for a year or two. It's almost like good teams in every sport, whether it's baseball, basketball, or football. They use the draft for long-term solutions. The Jaguars were not a team in that position. I also didn't necessarily think that they should just go strictly for need. I thought they should just get the most talented player, not the most talented long-term player. See, I think sometimes people get it mixed up when you say just get the guy that's going to be the best guy for the organization long-term and don't draft for need. There's a middle ground there, and there's an area in there where you can kind of do both. It appears that what's going on is the Jaguars are banking on themselves being better at player development, long-term player development, and better or more efficient in outworking people. Urban said yesterday, the 904, which is the area code of Jacksonville, you guys can rest easy that nobody work harder than us. We're going to work through this. That's all set. That's all good. That's all good. But hedging your bets and just attaching everything to this idea that you're going to outwork people. I've always been a dude, man, that I've always said this. And I know this is going to sound weird, but this is just me. And maybe it's just semantics and a play on words. But if you think you're going to outwork somebody else, then you're not working hard enough. What do I mean by that? You have to actually be paying attention to how hard somebody else is working before you realize whether or not you're working hard enough. And if you got time to be noticing how hard they're working, then you ain't doing what you're supposed to do because you're observing them instead of worrying about yourself. It's very, I don't know, you guys are like, come on, Wig. No, I'm dead serious. I never wake up saying I'm going to outwork the next man. I'm just saying I know what my goals are and I'm going to go get it. That's it. I know what it takes to be who I am and to live like I want to live. And I wake up every day and I go get it. And this is somebody who was a 1099 for 30 years, who had 5 kids, who I didn't eat unless I killed something. Never a steady paycheck like that, except for when I was between the ages of 19 and 22, or 19 and 23. Yeah. So I live by the fact that I never did any of that looking at somebody else. I never showed up at barbershop because I wanted to get more customers than the next guy. I showed up when I felt like I needed to be there. And it just so happens that I needed to be there early and stay late. So you got to be careful because you think Bill Belichick's going to, quote unquote, let somebody outwork him. How do you think he won 6 Super Bowls? You think Andy Reid is going to let his team be, quote unquote, outworked? You don't think that the other NFL players around the league, guys like Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, who are notoriously hard workers, or J.J. Watt or DeAndre Hopkins, you don't think they're running laps and lifting weights? I mean, that's a hard thing to hang your hat on. Now, of course, you don't want to be lazy and be outworked by people, but the fact that you think that at some point your strength and performance program is going to be the difference between you winning and not winning and beating other people lifting weights, other people are coaching too. I think what is going to beat other people is doing all of those things that you think are important and drafting good talent that gets on the field on Sunday. Identifying when your offensive line isn't very good and making sure that you figure out a way to get it good. Hiring coaches that share your philosophy and you don't spend any time bickering with them and spend any time trying to get on the same page because you're already on the same page. Coaching up guys to catch the ball, using your salary cap space properly to sign free agents. That's the stuff that makes you win games. Team building. It's not the sitting around the fire cooking marshmallows and everybody. That stuff is overrated, man. Making plays. Can Cortland Sutton outrun your DB? That's it. Is he better? So it's a hard thing to hang your hat on, man. But the Jaguar fans are smart, and what they're going to do is they're going to sit here and they're going to say, okay, this is what you want to do. See, one thing about Jaguar fans, they'll hear everything you say, and they say, okay, they'll put a check mark, right? This is what it is, this is what it is, this is what it is. All right, let me see it. That's what they're going to do. Those fans love that team so much, this team so much, that they're going to hang their hat on everything that management says, and they're going to say, this is what he said, this is what we expect. So now I want to ask this question. Do you think that Urban Meyer has now seen the light and realizes that maybe he needs to change his approach a little bit? I think he did. I think things have happened that have sort of woken him up a little bit. And I'll tell you what I think those things are in just a second here in segment 3 on Locked On Jaguars. After I tell you guys about direct TV stream, man, it is awesome because you know why? I got too much going on, or I had too much going on before I had direct TV stream. All these different passwords, all these different devices, things plugged up in the back of my TV and then my phone and downloading these apps and that app, that's gone. I got my TV together. And what I mean by get your TV together is this. You just got to start by calling DirecTV Stream. Get in touch with directtv.com and ask about DirecTV Stream. It's a place and a chance for you to get all of these things, all of your passwords, all of that stuff, condense all of that stuff down to one streaming service, and it's DirecTV Stream. You got sports, movies, everything you can imagine, all of the things that you watch, and it'll all be in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part is there's no annual contract. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. And make sure you ask them about DirecTV Stream. Built Bar. And you guys know what my favorite one is. It is the salted caramel. And if you don't know, if you have never been here and have never heard my show before, I'm going to tell you what Built Bar is. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar ever. They have 9 delicious flavors and an occasional limited time flavor. And you can find out all about it on their social media on @bar_built. However, the macros are outstanding with Built Bar, especially if you're trying to work out. Listen, 17 to 18 grams of protein. That's a nice pop of protein. Anywhere between 130 and 180 calories, depending on which one you like. 4 or 5 grams of sugar, 4 or 5 grams of net carbs. It's never anything you got to worry about weight-wise. In fact, you're going to think you're cheating because it tastes so good. Go to Built Bar. It's @bar_built, right? On Twitter, but it's builtbar.com. And use the promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off of your first order of Built Bars. That's right. Let me tell you again, LOCKED15 is your promo code, and you're going to get 15% off your first order of Built Bars. So go to builtbar.com and find out which one of those bars is your favorite. I know which mine is, and now you need to find out what yours is. It's Built Bar, builtbar.com. All right, man, we're going to roll through segment 3 here on a Monday. And just to let you guys know, we're not at the point where we've totally given up and it's Debbie Downer and all of that stuff. No. It's just time to face reality about who we are and what we are. I'm still happy for the fans and happy for the team that they have Trevor Lawrence. I think he is a superstar. So what you need to be good in the NFL, what has this organization actually accomplished? They got the number 1 pick, and that's a plus. Urban talked about being the best of the best, being fast and sticking together. And what I think is good for him right now is the slap in the face of reality that other people can really, really coach at this level. And that it's very, very difficult to go from a losing team to a winning team. And the margin of error between missing on draft picks and signing the wrong free agents can be pretty much catastrophic and could set you back. I think the initial shock of, I didn't see as much bad body language from him yesterday. I think the initial shock of this ain't going to be as easy as I thought it was. I really do believe that part has kind of hit him, and he's already feeling it. And now I think the competitor in him, that competitive spirit that we always talk about with Urban Meyer, now I think he's going to get to work, because now it's like, I'm going to prove I can do this. I'm going to prove I can do this, and it's not going to be easy. The best coaches ever that have come from college to coaching the pros, it took them a while. I think a lot of people got spoiled with like Tom Coughlin and those circumstances with how the Jaguars and the Carolina Panthers were able to be really, really good, really, really fast. But I think the league kind of learned this lesson from that. And that was the difference, because those were expansion teams. However, with Urban, I think it's a very, very important now that he understand just how important just the talent is, and not putting yourself in a box and having these athletic profiles or putting yourself in a box and only getting guys that you're familiar with And maybe now, there'll be an appreciation, not that it wasn't before, but you hear rumors, but there'll be a bigger appreciation for the actual scouts as opposed to just depending on so much about relationship and about familiarity with guys. So you don't have to have people that agree with you or that to win. You just don't. All you need is people that's talented enough and is willing to do what you need them to do. And that even goes with coaching staff. It's not about how many people you have over there with whistles and hats on and all. It's about the right people that you have over there with whistles and hats on. So I think the initial shock that we all thought about when there were people that were saying, what's going to happen when he realizes how hard it is, or he loses 1 or 2 games in college per year. What's going to happen when he loses his first 2 or 3 games he's ever coached? Well, now we're seeing it. And I heard some resolve in his voice yesterday. Hey, we're not going to quit. We're going to keep working. We're going to get better. And those are actually good things. Believe it or not, those are good things. Now, whether or not they can do it, who knows? But at least it sounds as if he understands that there's a reason why there's a handful of teams that's never even won a Super Bowl. There's a reason why some of these coaches in the NFL have gotten fired after 2 or 3 years. There's a reason why some of the best coaches that this league has ever seen, guys like Andy Reid, they only won 1 championship. This stuff is not easy. It is hard. And you have to hit on the right things. You got to get a quarterback. You got to get an offensive line. You got to get an identity offensively. You need playmakers, guys that can step up and make plays. On defense, you need playmakers. You need a sound philosophy at all 3 levels. And then you need special teams. And then you need coaching continuity. You have to be able to coach your players just like your players have to be able to receive coaching. And you have to be able to coach your coaches just like you have those coaches go out and coach players. This is hard. This is why everyone does not win. The key is they just got to do things a little bit differently in terms of the personnel. In this league, you can't draft a guy in the 2nd round and you're already bad and then he doesn't dress. Doesn't work. If you draft a kid in the 2nd round that you can't play and that's a healthy scratch, that is not a guy that should be a 2nd round pick. It's not the NBA where you draft like a high school kid, he sits for 3 or 4 years. No, because they have something called contracts. And if this is a wasted year for him, then he probably shouldn't have got picked where he got picked. That's just the bottom line. If you tell me Andre Cisco got picked in the 3rd round, but he really had a 1st round grade, then Andre Cisco needs to be playing on a bad team. And at some point, they're going to have to figure out, and they're going to have to learn how to navigate that, because what they're trying to do just does not work. Here's why it doesn't work here. I just mentioned that if you're not a 1st round pick, you only got 4 years. Okay, well, you got 4 years in college too, just 5 years in college, say if you're a true freshman. But here's why it doesn't work in the NFL. Because if a guy spends 3 years on campus in college and now he's a redshirt sophomore or a junior and he's ready to go, the people that he's playing against are either other seniors, redshirt juniors, or juniors, or a guy in his 3rd year of college is in the upper half in terms of age and maturity. It's not true in the NFL. If Walker Little can't play this year, 3 years from now, guess who he's going to be playing against? The same people he couldn't play against a year ago or 2 years ago. They don't go anywhere. They don't leave. Patrick Mahomes is 3 years. He's in his 4th year. Trevor Lawrence is in his 1st. Patrick Mahomes is going to be here. When Trevor Lawrence is in his 10th year, Patrick Mahomes is still going to be out there playing football. Justin Herbert, still going to be out there playing football. Josh Allen, they don't graduate. They don't leave. So the guys you're trying to develop so that one day they'll be the upperclassmen, they never become the upperclassmen. They don't become the upperclassmen until they're in year 12. And do you have that long to wait? That's why guys you draft have to be able, they should be more ready to play than being a healthy scratch on 2 straight weeks on a bad 1-15 team. You need your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round picks to play. You need your 4th round picks to be real close. Go look around the league now and look at the guys that got drafted. They're already making plays because teams don't have that kind of time, and you don't have it either. And even if you think you do, you don't. Because while Walker Little's getting better, and maybe by year 3, he's getting better, the other guys are getting better too. And then guess what else happens? These guys coming in behind them, they're getting better too, and they're young and they're ready to go. Don't tell me you can't play young people. Justin Herbert played young last year, and Joe Burrow and those guys played well. So that's why you expect Trevor to play well. Tristan Wirfs played well. I know he went to a good team, but to me, a young guy that's not ready will stick out like a sore thumb on a really good team. He didn't stick out like a sore thumb. In fact, he thrived. For every time you want to tell me that a young player can't play on offensive lineman is in development, I'll tell you to look at the world champion Kansas. Well, not the world champion, but 2 years removed from a championship. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They're starting 2 rookie offensive linemen on their team right now. Don't tell me that you have to wait. We got to get out of this line of thinking that all of a sudden, well, no, Trevor's young. And yeah, he's young. Guess what he needs? Protection. He needs more protection when he's young than he does when he's old. Don't tell me you can't have 2 rookies on the offensive line starting for your franchise quarterback, and the Chiefs got 2 of them starting they got 2 rookies and a second-year guy starting right now. That's 3/5 of their offensive line to protect their quarterback, the most valuable quarterback in the league right now. When you miss and you misjudge stuff, just say you missed and you misjudge stuff. Don't make excuses. And I think we all have to get out of that thinking, and I hope the Jaguars have gotten out of that thinking too. We got a big week here as we get ready to have our crossover on Wednesday or Thursday, our crossover with Locked On Cardinals, as we try to figure out the Jags are going to do. Quick injury update for you in terms of what the Jaguars have going on. Hip flexor for CJ Henderson. We'll probably know more later on about how long he may be out. And then Laviska Shenault had a problem, and they're going to do an MRI, and I guess the information about the injuries is starting to pile up at keeper the Jaguars. So it's just not going to get easier. But all we got to do is change our thinking and our expectations, and we'll be able to cope with it better. And you just want to see continued improvement from the team. You also want to see continued improvement and put money in your pocket. And the best way to do that is to go watch and listen to the Locked On Bets podcast with your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling. Get daily picks, blowout specials, wrong team favorite picks, and Lee Sterling's lock of the day. Follow the Locked On Bets podcast brought to you by betonline.ag, wherever you get podcasts. Not a victory Monday, but we're always winners because that's just who we are. And I appreciate you listening to the Locked On Jaguars podcast today. And we'll be back every day this week with more content, you guys. But until then, do what I always say, take care of each other. And thank you for tuning in to the Locked On Jaguars podcast. I'm Tony Wiggins, and